The Lindbergh Baby Kidnapping remains one of the most infamous crimes in American history. It involved the abduction and subsequent murder of Charles Augustus Lindbergh Jr., the 20-month-old son of famed aviator Charles Lindbergh and his wife, Anne Morrow Lindbergh. The case captivated the nation, leading to what was then the largest manhunt in U.S. history and the passage of significant federal laws. Charles Lindbergh was a global icon by the time of the kidnapping. In 1927, he became the first person to complete a nonstop solo flight across the Atlantic Ocean, making him an international hero. His marriage to Anne Morrow, daughter of a U.S. ambassador, only added to his prominence. The couple welcomed their first child, Charles Jr., on June 22, 1930. And by 1932, they had settled in a secluded mansion in Hopewell, New Jersey, seeking privacy from the media frenzy that surrounded them. On the evening of March 1, 1932, at approximately 9 p.m., the Lindbergh's nurse, Betty Gow, went to check on baby Charles and found his crib empty. Alarmed, she immediately informed Charles Lindbergh, who conducted a frantic search of the house before discovering a ransom note on the nursery windowsill. The note, written in broken English, demanded $50,000 for the safe return of the child. Outside the house, Lindbergh and investigators found a makeshift wooden ladder leading up to the nursery window. They also discovered muddy footprints and a series of impressions in the ground, suggesting that the perpetrator had climbed up, taken the baby, and escaped into the night. Despite the cold weather, no one in the household had heard any unusual noises. The Lindberghs quickly contacted the police, and law enforcement officers swarmed the estate. The investigation was soon taken over by the New Jersey State Police, led by Colonel H. Norman Schwarzkopf. As news of the kidnapping spread, reporters and concerned citizens arrived in droves, turning the Lindbergh estate into the center of national attention. Authorities initially theorized that the crime might have been committed by someone with inside knowledge of the Lindbergh household. However, the absence of clear leads complicated the case. The ransom note provided few clues beyond its distinctive handwriting and poor grammar. Desperate for help, Lindbergh sought the assistance of prominent crime figures, including mobster Oni Madden and a retired school principal, Dr. John Condon, who offered to serve as an intermediary. Condon placed an ad in a newspaper offering to negotiate with the kidnappers, and soon he was contacted by a man calling himself John. Over a series of clandestine meetings, John provided proof that he had the baby, including the infant's sleeping clothes. On April 2, 1932, after weeks of negotiation, Lindbergh's representatives delivered a ransom payment of $50,000 in marked bills to a man meeting Condon in a Bronx cemetery. The man handed over a note stating that Charles Jr. could be found on a boat named Nellie off the New Jersey coast. However, when investigators searched the indicated location, they found no trace of the child. On May 12, 1932, over 2 months after the abduction, a truck driver named William Allen discovered the decomposed body of a child in a wooded area near Hopewell, about 4 miles from the Lindbergh home. Authorities quickly confirmed that it was Charles Lindbergh Jr. The baby had suffered a severe skull fracture, likely caused during the abduction or shortly afterward. The state of decomposition suggested that he had been killed the night of the kidnapping. The discovery devastated the Lindbergh family and the nation. Public outrage over the crime prompted President Herbert Hoover to assign federal resources to assist in the investigation. Despite extensive efforts, the case grew cold for 2 years. However, investigators closely monitored the serial numbers of the ransom bills. A breakthrough came in 1934 when a marked bill was used at a Manhattan gas station. The attendant, suspicious of the bill, recorded the license plate number of the customer's vehicle. The car was traced to Bruno Richard Hauptmann, a German immigrant and carpenter living in the Bronx. When police arrested Hauptmann on September 19, 1934, they discovered over $14,000 of the ransom money hidden in his garage. Further investigation revealed that Hauptmann's handwriting bore striking similarities to that on the ransom notes. Additionally, the wooden ladder used in the crime was linked to lumber from Hauptmann's workshop. Hauptmann maintained his innocence, claiming that he had been given the money by a deceased friend, Isidore Fish. However, the evidence against him was overwhelming. His past criminal record in Germany and his refusal to provide a satisfactory explanation for possessing the ransom money further damaged his credibility. Hauptmann's trial, held in Flemington, New Jersey, in early 1935, became a national spectacle, drawing intense media coverage. The prosecution, led by David T. Valence, presented the ransom notes, eyewitness testimonies, and forensic evidence linking Hauptmann to the crime. The defense, led by attorney Edward Riley, argued that Hauptmann had been framed and that the police had mishandled the evidence. Nevertheless, the jury found Hauptmann guilty of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to death. Hauptmann maintained his innocence throughout the appeals process, refusing multiple offers to confess in exchange for a reduced sentence. On April 3, 1936, he was executed in the electric chair at Trenton State Prison. The Lindbergh Baby Kidnapping led to significant legal changes. In response to the crime, Congress passed the Lindbergh Law, also known as the Federal Kidnapping Act, making it a federal offense to transport a kidnapped victim across state lines. The law greatly expanded the jurisdiction of federal authorities in kidnapping cases. Despite the conviction and execution of Hauptmann, controversy surrounded the case for decades. Some believed he had accomplices or had been wrongfully accused. Over the years, various conspiracy theories emerged, including speculation that Lindbergh himself had orchestrated the kidnapping as part of a bizarre experiment or cover-up, though no credible evidence ever supported such claims. The Lindbergh family, devastated by the tragedy, eventually moved to Europe to escape the public scrutiny. They later returned to the U.S., and Charles Lindbergh went on to lead a controversial life, advocating for non-interventionist policies before World War II and later championing environmental causes. The Lindbergh baby kidnapping remains one of the most tragic and extensively studied crimes in American history. It not only exposed flaws in law enforcement practices at the time, but also led to significant changes in federal law. The case continues to be the subject of books, films, and discussions, ensuring that its impact on American criminal justice and society is never forgotten.